Thank you, Chairman Peters, Ranking Member Paul, and for holding this important hearing. I also want to thank the witnesses for their testimony today, and Secretary Mayorkas, I want to thank you for working with my office and the entire Nevada delegation to ensure that the upcoming Formula One Grand Prix, just in a few weeks, has the federal interagency security support it needed. We raised that SEER rating, and we appreciate it. I'm going to go right into border security, Mr. Secretary. As you know, fentanyl is destroying communities across the country, Nevada, no exception. According to the CDC, we lost a staggering 949 Nevadans to opioid overdose deaths in 2021 alone, and the problem only continues to get worse. As I've stated before, stopping the influx of these deadly drugs starts by strengthening our border security through a significant increase in resources. That's why earlier this month, I joined with several of my colleagues in urging President Biden to allocate additional funds and resources to end the flow of fentanyl at our southwest border. So, Mr. Secretary, as the Senate considers the administration's supplemental funding request and looks to prioritize what is most critical for that package, what additional resources can Congress allocate to DHS specifically to strengthen your ability, the Department's ability, to detect and intercept fentanyl at our ports of entry so we can address the worsening crisis?
Thank you very much, Senator. The scourge of fentanyl has been building year over year for more than five years. We have sought in the supplemental funding request additional resources for the Department of Homeland Security to combat the fentanyl epidemic. Specifically, we have sought approximately $850 million for enhanced technology, our non-intrusive inspection technology. We have also sought funds for additional officers so that they can deploy to the ports of entry where the predominant amount of fentanyl is smuggled through passenger vehicles and commercial trucks so that we can interdict more of the fentanyl. We are accomplishing that at an unprecedented level because of the incredible personnel that we have and the strategies that we are employing to maximize results.
Thank you. I want to move now to something that is rising antisemitism. How do we counter that? So following Hamas's brutal October 7th terrorist attack on innocent Israelis, our nation has witnessed a dramatic increase in anti-Semitic threats and incidents targeting Jewish Americans, including Jewish students being threatened and harassed on college campuses. According to the Anti-Defamation League, reported incidents of anti-Semitism have increased by 388% compared to the same period last year. Government agencies have a responsibility to ensure the safety and security of Jewish Americans. I'm encouraged that the administration's supplemental budget request includes a significant allocation for the life-saving nonprofit security grant program, which I have been calling for. There's still so much more to be done. Last week, Senator Langford and I led a bipartisan, bicameral letter to DHS and FBI requesting their immediate attention to this crisis and a briefing on the current threat assessment, the interagency coordination efforts, and preparedness and resiliency measures that are in place to prevent and respond to violence against Jewish Americans. So to Secretary Mayorkas and then Director Wray, can you please commit to providing members of Congress with this briefing we asked for? And could you outline the specific actions your agencies are taking to prevent and respond to this alarming rise in anti-Semitic violence?
Senator, you certainly have my commitment for that briefing. It was just a couple weeks, I think, before the terrorist attacks of October 7th that I attended and spoke at the Eradicate Hate Summit in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and met with survivors of the Tree of Life tragedy. On October 8th, I participated in a convening hosted by the Anti-Defamation League, where more than 700 participants heard from me with respect to the threat landscape and what we would do to address the aftermath of the horrific terrorist attacks. Since then, We have engaged every day with the Jewish American community, as well as other communities of faith that feel under tremendous threat, to educate them about the steps they can take to ensure the safety and security of their worshipers and their members. We have deployed our protective security advisors in each state to work with communities of faith. We have shared information and intelligence with our state, local, tribal, territorial, and campus law enforcement partners in partnership with the FBI. I have spoken with a number of leaders of colleges and universities with respect to their need to take leadership and to ensure the safety and security of the students on their campuses. We are doing a whole series of actions to address this moment.
Thank you. Director Ray.
Absolutely. I look forward to having our folks participate in the briefing that you requested. I will say that this is a threat that is reaching, in some ways, sort of historic levels, in part because, as you know all too well, the Jewish community is targeted by terrorists really across the spectrum. Homegrown violent extremists, foreign terrorist organizations, both Sunni and Shia, domestic violent extremists, and in fact, our statistics would indicate that for a group that represents only about 2.4% of the American public, they account for something like 60% of all religious-based hate crimes. And so we're trying to do our part, both by tackling it through our joint terrorism task forces, hate crime investigations, outreach both nationally and locally at every field office level, intelligence sharing, training. I know I've spent a lot of time engaging with SCN, for example, ADL, others. And we also created a fusion cell that brings together the expertise of both our hate crimes folks and our domestic terrorism folks to make sure that we're seeing the full landscape and doing our best to be proactive in this space.
Thank you both. I look forward to that briefing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.